As you guys can see, my face is lit. Am I trying to pay myself a compliment? No. I'm talking about photons. And those photons are brought to you by Fotowelt. Fotowelt got me this beautiful LED studio light, and I'm more than thrilled with it, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the amazing features it contains. But I have to leave my office for that, because I tried filming this review already, and it was terrible. And it was terrible because the lights were off, because I was showing you the back end of it. And it was too dark in here to show you the features. So, case made, the light is helpful. So let's take this to a hopefully brighter room and show you, because outside it's dark and murky and ugh. Yeah. So let's take this to the other room. Okay, so I'm in a little bit better light now. I have to literally sit in front of a window. That's how dark it is outside. And anyway, this is the light. Isn't it pretty? So on the front panel, you'll see that there are quite a few LEDs that are very bright. Now there are various brightness settings on it, but they do not change color on themselves. But I'll get to you in a second about why it's still bi-colored, even though that the LEDs have one color. But let's first talk about the rest of the front. So in it we have these that flap down. Actually, they have a specific order. So we go with these ones first. There we go. Those close on top there, and makes it a little easier to store, protects the LEDs, and the shutters, or reflectors as they're called in the manual, also help shape the light. Now let's close those back up for a second, and then go to the back. Now on the back of the panel, you'll notice that there are two slots for actually batteries. Now they're the LED 660A Pro batteries that go in there. And they do not come with it. You can buy a kit that does, however. This is the cheapest model. It just comes with the DC connector. But the battery option is pretty awesome if you want to take your studio to go, or if you are going to be filming at or taking pictures at a wedding and you need additional lighting in the corners and there are no outlets. Being able to have batteries that you just pop in is extremely useful to have on this type of lighting system. And since they're LEDs, they're a little more power efficient and should run for a little while. And if you want to check the LED battery life, if you want to check the battery life on those, there is a screen indicator that will always display the battery life at that time. So it's very nifty. So aside from the batteries, what you have in the back here is the main dial, which helps adjust the lighting strength, which is very slow, but in a good way, because it means that you can really fine-tune the light to the point that you like. So you keep cranking it until it's where you want. But if you want to skip that and you want to go a little faster, this button jumps the increments of 25%, so that you can boost the lighting a lot quicker and have it where you want it to be. Now, one of the coolest features about this studio light is the fact that it can be paired wirelessly with other studio lights of the same kind. So say you buy 5 of these and set them up all around your studio, you can set them to the same channel, and you don't need a remote or anything like that. They're all connected. And if you change the setting on one of these lights, if they're all on the same channel, they will all change to the exact setting that you just switched it, the brightness and all that, which is pretty awesome. It doesn't mean you have to go running around changing all of them manually. So that is a very sweet feature. Again, I only have one, so I don't get to really showcase that, but that is a thing. Now, the other advantage of that is that you can have some lights on one channel and some lights on the other. And if you're trying to create a cool light or distant light or whatever, you can adjust those on the same channel and it will create your lighting effect for that, which also is really awesome. Okay, and on the back we have the power switch. So on the full left, which is the DC power, that is for the wired power. In the middle, that is the off position, and then all the way to the right is for battery only. So if you think you've turned it on without looking and you hit the battery and something's wrong and you're complaining that it's not on, it's because you hit it to the battery and not to the DC power. Okay, so back to the coloring. Why is it bi-colored? Okay, well, one thing you may not have known is that it comes with this really sturdy and nice nylon case, which holds everything very well in it. In this pouch you have a shoulder strap too, if you want to lug it that way, you can do that. So in it you have these filters. And what these filters do, I'll show you in a second. Just look at the rest. So you have your manual, which I do recommend looking over, and then you can see everything fits in the cutouts of the foam. Pretty cool. So let's put the case down. This goes on top with the covers. Okay, so the filters. Warm, diffused. So this doesn't change the color per se of the LEDs, but it helps diffuse them. So when it's mega bright, it doesn't hurt your face. I don't know. It keeps things from being a little harder. And I think in a studio setting where you can change and shape the lights a little bit more and have things at a distance, it'll affect things more. But when I have it that close to my face in my office, it doesn't change things too much, except for the fact that I don't have blazing LEDs directly in my face. They're diffused a little bit, so it makes it a little easier to look at the camera without being blinded. Now this changes things. This is a warming filter, and it kind of mimics tungsten lighting, and it does a very good job of it. I'll show an example right there. Yeah, look at me. Here we go. This creates a really nice warm filter. So if you want it to look like a more natural setting, if you want it to look like, you know, home lights instead of a studio lights or bright white lights, that's a good way to do it. And there's a few reasons why you'd want to do that, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. I'm sure if you're looking for this sort of thing, then you already know that. So it does have filters. If you're thinking that the LEDs change themselves, they don't. They change in brightness, and they do get extremely bright, but the filters are what does it. So you're thinking filters, that must be a huge hassle. Well, no, they're not, and I will show you why. So inside of the lamp, you'll see that the four corners have these metal tabs, and that the corners of these have magnets. So what you do is you just slip them in, and they fall into place, and it's connected. Just show you that it's actually in there. So it makes that pretty simple, and then they have little hole tabs that you can just kind of pull them out. So they make that very easy. There's no real hassle when it comes to it. You can do it with one hand if you're holding it right, and yeah. So no complaints there. You can potentially get other filters if you desire that would fit in here, but that's how that works. So for the price, I'd say that they are indeed a good buy. If you're trying to amp up your YouTube videos, or you're trying to be a better videographer, photographer, but you notice that a lot of lighting just doesn't have what you want, when you're paying less, you typically get less features, but being able to wirelessly control these, have batteries for them to be that bright, conveniently coming with a case and all that, the price really includes a lot with this lighting system. So I'm incredibly happy. I will, if my office does get bigger, or if I have to move locations, or if I do more videography, I will be picking up more of these specifically to help step up my game. And they definitely do that. So they get my wholehearted recommendation. So if you want to pick up some of these, I will place their variants in the description below that show you the different types that you can get, the multi-lamp systems, or some with an actual boom pole, because I didn't get that. It does come with a mounting bracket for a boom or a tripod. Not a typical camera tripod, but a lamp tripod. So the one I got was the cheapest one, and it didn't come with that, but for a few dollars more, I could have gotten that. But I had a pole in my room, so I just mounted it to that. So save a couple bucks. But for most cases, you'll probably want to get a stand for it. So those are my thoughts on the Fotowelt lamp system. You let me know what you think in the comments below. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.